Hello and welcome to another episode of the Truth About Real Estate Investing Show. And unfortunately, we're going to start off with some negative news. Our community is rocked by another bankruptcy, Clydesdale Capital's bankruptcy. And earlier this year, we had Epic Alliance. Clydesdale's significantly smaller, thank goodness. But I believe we're still early. Two of Clydesdale's properties were in my market, and my whole team was buzzing about them. We didn't know it was theirs. Actually, one of the sellers actually contacted us to potentially sell the properties for them. But anyways, both of them were in mid-renovation with asking prices over $300,000 below what they paid, and those asking prices were well below market value. If you ever want to know what a professional wants to buy, what they offer on, these were it. Not what the investors originally bought off market. As they paid, again, like I mentioned, they paid over $300,000 more than what they're asking for, and they ended up selling between about $100,000 or $200,000 less than what they paid for, but they had spent a lot already in terms of renovations, and I believe one of the properties, the deal was they would leave behind the kitchen cabinets that were already in the property. Anyways, so really unfortunate for the sellers. Really fortunate for the best investors that did those deals. I'm jealous. I wish they were mine. I do believe there'll be more deals as we go, as speculative investors who speculated, who overleveraged in the supply chain challenge market with rising labor costs. They're going to continue to struggle. I expect at least 2 more interest rate increases. The investment strategies going forward from here have completely changed based on economic fundamentals and everything else going on in the market. Bank of Canada just recently pivoted on increasing rates. Doug Ford's recent legislation for triplexes by right. The world is changing. The war in Ukraine still goes. There's a struggle, a pretty regular public struggle between the West and China. The crash of the stock market and cryptocurrency markets. The recession is here. We might be in it. And if we're not in it, it's coming. The real estate market too. Fear is high. From all indications that from all the people I talk to, I think it can go higher, and I think it will go higher as interest rates continue to go up. Europe has yet to face its worst as it sinks into recession, but the time to be greedy is really near. Possibly the best opportunities to be greedy since the 2009. And every investor I know from those days regrets not taking more action. So don't let these next 12 to 18 months be what you regret for the next 10 years. You probably want to arm yourself with as best education as possible. Wealthhacker.ca for tickets and details. November 12th at the Wealthhacker Conference, I'll be sharing my research. I've been working pretty hard on this because I have a lot of questions. I'm not an investor for the sake of investing. I am an investor because everything that I read and touch points towards the type of investments that Cherry and I will be doing going forward. I think you all know my family's financial well-being is almost completely reliant on my ability as an investor. So you better believe I give 110%. So I know our own investing will be pivoting based on the current environment. And I'll be sharing about what we're doing all about at November 12th at the conference. On to this week's guest. Oh, yes, again, wealthhacker.ca for more details. On to this week's show, we have Danielle Unsworth, who has simply caught fire since attending our 2019 Wealth Hacker Conference. Danielle took the whole 10xing thing to heart. The first thing she started doing first off, she took the bus. She, being not someone part of our community, she had no one to carpool with to the Wealth Hacker Conference, even though there was a massive contingent from Ottawa who attended the 2019 Wealth Hacker Conference. Danielle went solo, again, taking the bus. It actually made her car sick, but she managed to push through. She attended the conference. You'll hear her from herself that it changed her life. She started converting a basement apartments in her hometown of Ottawa, Ontario, and then she hired a coach, someone she was introduced to from this podcast, Susan White Livermore. Shout out to Susan, she's amazing. Danielle since then invested in vacation rentals in Turks and Caicos. She bought 6 townhouses Six townhouses in Edmonton, Alberta, each with basement suites, using really cheap CMHC MLI Select money. You probably want to write that down and Google it later. CMHC MLI Select. Now she's also investing. She's invested in 2 apartment buildings in New Brunswick, and she's actually bought a whole lot more since we last spoken too, because I see her unit count just keeps going up on her social media. As I mentioned, she shot out of a cannon, and she's built a large Instagram following, and she shares how on this show. And now, if you're one of those quality investors out there or coaches looking to raise capital or build credibility, I suggest you give Danielle a follow. As the truth about real estate investing is, there are bankrupt investors out there right now, both morally and financially, and they're doing the same. They're social media influencers, and they can raise millions of dollars doing it. But again, they're morally and financially bankrupt now. So if you are a good person and you are a good investor who has experience doing quality investments that will survive downturns like the ones we're in, inflationary environments, high interest rate environments, then, well, at least that's how I justify myself in all the content that I myself and Cherry put out. And there will be a lot more to come in 2023. For Cherry and I, if nothing else, us sharing the truth about real estate investing, it's a public service. So I give you Danielle Unsworth. We're honestly just sharing. Cherry and I are so grateful. Like, we truly believe this is the greatest country in the world. There's tons of opportunity for anyone. I think largely what's missing is just education on how to do it.
It really is, Erwin, because I mean, I've lived here for so many years, over 30 years, and all this education that I've been getting has only been in the last 3 to 4 years. So if I had access to all this education, I feel like my journey would have started much sooner. I would have been able to help more people sooner. And so I feel like, what we're doing, sharing our journey and just educating others, it's really going to make a huge difference. I think 5-10 years from now, the world is going to be very different because we have so many young people now, that are starting to invest in real estate at like 18, I see them at conferences and even at like my webinars, and I'm just so impressed and so happy. Can you imagine if we started investing at 18? Like crazy, right?
And I get some flack for trying to get my kids, not get them into real estate, more just like making it part of the world.
Exactly. I mean, my kids are 7. Well, one will be 7 soon, and the other one is 10. And they know what a mortgage is. They know what rents are. They understand interest rates. They charge me interest. Like they get it. And I wish I had known all that stuff when I was their age, because they're already looking at starting their own businesses. I mean, they've already started doing like e-comic books and selling them to friends and family. All these things that like I just didn't know, to do when I was their age. So, yeah.
Yeah, and again, I've gotten some flack for it. Like, I don't think anyone knows what the right answer is.
No,
I just think if kids are comfortable being business owners, so like whatever real estate is to people, to me, it's still a business. I have to do marketing, I have to, manage books, I have to advertise it, I have to deal with, have people skills to deal with tenants and property managers and all those sorts of things. It's a business.
Yes.
Right. I think the more comfortable people are in business, the further they'll go. And the analogy often uses in sports, for example, for anyone who follows sports, you'll see that there's a lot of really good athletes whose parents were very good as well. Right. Like Tiger Woods' son is very good at golf.
Yes. And you can see it. Some of the videos they show, like his mannerisms and everything, it's exactly the same. They grew up with that environment, right? So it's also, genetics and genes, but still, I think we have a huge influence on how we're going to raise them and what we teach them and what we just expose them to, and whether they choose to follow that path or not, that's up to them. But at least we're giving them the options, right?
Yes. I think what we're doing is we're setting the higher ceiling for them now.
Exactly.
Right. Versus if they were to start picking up, let's just continue with this analogy of golf. Someone who learns golf at 7 has very distinct advantages over someone who learns golf at 18.
Yes.
So
So
no
I
different than
would,
these investors you're talking about who show up at your
yeah,
webinars. What if they start learning at 7 compared to if
exactly.
they're learning at 18?
Exactly. It's crazy because I mean I went golfing for the first time this summer. First time ever. We hosted a women's golf event because it is very intimidating for women to go golfing.
Mhm.
So there was about 30 of us, all beginners. There was maybe 5 or 6 that had golfed before, and we kind of dispersed them throughout the different teams so they would be able to help us.
Mhm.
And I wish I was exposed to that much sooner because it's such a great environment. Like we were out
Mhm.
all day, you get to talk, network. It was really fun. And I wish I
Mhm.
had been exposed to that sooner as well.
Mhm. Yep. I
Yeah,
think my daughter's
yeah.
in lessons.
I know. I see her. I see you guys putting them in all these cool activities. I love
Right.
it.
So that these opportunities will be available to her.
That's right. Yeah. And we
Right.
can do that because of what we've gone through as well, right?
Yeah. And just, just trying to teach my kids what I think would have been helpful for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's all we're trying to do. And what
Okay.
they choose to do with it, it's up to them. I'm not
Right.
forcing them.
Right.
If, they're not interested and they want to do their own thing, that's cool, but they have options at least.
So Danielle, you're up to a lot.
Yes, yes.
So you've shared like going to the Wealth Hacker Conference was a big catalyst for yourself.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Erwin,
Well,
I took a bus there, right?
I did not know that.
Yeah, I have a fear of long distance driving.
Uh-huh.
And at that time I had a scarcity mindset. So I didn't think to even fly there. I took a Greyhound
Yeah, it's next
bus.
to the airport.
I know. But I bought a bus ticket and I got like sick because it was such a
Car
long
sick?
bumpy. Yes.
Oh my God.
But I went the night before and I got to my friend and I was so sick. I'm like, I gotta get better. The conference is tomorrow.
Yeah.
And after a few hours, it was fine. And then I went there and just like that was my first conference ever. I had never paid to go to anything like that. And so just listening to the speakers and how, investing in stock options in real estate and networking changed their lives, it really gave me so much motivation and education to leave that conference and start really researching. I was like on a mission after that conference. And I did end up flying back because I was like, I can't take the bus back home. So my husband and I called him. I was like, I can't. And he's like, just buy a plane ticket. It's fine. And so I did, but now I know better. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the bus, but I got sick. So I didn't want to get sick coming back home. But I just knew I had to get there.
Uh-huh.
And, it was from your podcast and you were promoting it. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to go. I'm just spending money and see what it's all about. Because I was listening to your podcast on my walks to work, thinking like, oh my God, like this is not enough. I need to do more. And so I went for it. And it really was the catalyst to everything else because I was on this mission to change my life and get educated. It was crazy.
Danielle, straight up, like your story is exactly what we want from our people.
And that's why I'm such a huge promoter of your event too, because I'm the result of attending conferences like that, right? Like I'm not special. I literally was walking from my bus stop to my office listening to your podcast, which I'm sure tons of people do now, maybe just, not on the bus, but maybe they're at home listening to it or on like their way to running errands. But go to these conferences and then, it's going to be what you make of it. When you leave, what are you prepared to do? What actions are you going to take? How inspired are you to change your life? And if you are, all these resources are available. Every one of those speakers, they like you could reach out to them and they
Yeah, you
would
can reach out to
provide
them. Yeah.
exactly. And a lot of people have that fear. And that's what I had too. I'm like, they don't know me. Why would they talk to me? That was my
Hmm.
mentality.
Hmm.
And you actually had Susan on one of your podcasts, and
Hmm.
she really inspired me. And she was doing exactly what I wanted to do. And that was my first time reaching out to someone on like from a podcast. And I was so nervous, Erwin. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to say to
Susan?
her?
She's like one of the
Yes,
loveliest people.
she's so nice. I went to her website, I filled out her form, and then we had a Zoom meeting. And that was sort of like the beginning of our like coaching relationship. And she also changed like the way I looked at real estate. And even now, like I'm always saying thank you to her, because I'll go through issues and I'm like, what would Susan say to me? And I'll work through that. So, you know, my message to people is like, it's okay to reach out to all of these speakers and people on podcasts. It sounds scary, but that's why we're on podcasts, is to educate and like share our journey, and just not to just push past that fear, because that's where I was. And I'm sure lots of people are in this exact situation where they listen to podcasts, but they don't take any action because they're scared that, you know, they're just this random person reaching out to a complete stranger. But that's okay. That's what we want you guys to do. Reach out and ask for help and get the resources.
Yeah, that's why we offer like free trainings here.
Exactly. And I went to your free training too. Do you remember? I actually flew there. This is what I mean. Like, you guys have been like such a huge part of my journey. And I remember after the whole bus ride thing, this time you had it was a basement conversion free training that you had. And that's exactly what I was looking to do with one of my properties. And I didn't know how to do it. There wasn't a lot of people in Ottawa who were doing it at the time, or that I knew of that were doing it. And then when I saw your free training on a basement conversions, I'm like, well, I have to go. And I'm like, this time I'm not taking the bus. I'm just going to fly. So I took the whole day off work. I booked a vacation day. I flew there and then flew back the same day. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm doing it. The returns are there. It makes sense. I'm not the only one doing it. This is a huge thing in the GTA Hamilton area. I just didn't know anyone
everywhere
in Ottawa. Yeah. At the time, I just didn't know. Yes, exactly. After I did my first conversion, I started seeing this strategy everywhere. But that's sort of what started my journey with the SCU. That's what we call them here. But yeah, that's how I kind of got educated. It was from your free training.
Fabulous.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, no, and we're unbelievably happy for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You actually chose a good time to get educated, and I'd argue now is incredibly important to be educated, and of course to take action at some point, because it is scary out there. I think the stock market hit a new 1-year low, 52-week low. So I'm sure people are scared.
Yes.
Are you scared? Okay, let's actually talk about what you got going on, because you have a lot going on.
Sure.
Let me just list off what I know of.
Okay.
Because you have vacation property that are investments.
Yes.
In Curacao? Where are they?
It's
Caymans?
in Turks and Caicos.
Turks, thank you.
Yes.
Turks. Okay, how many properties in Turks?
So when we went, it's 3 condos, but they were sold as one package deal. So it's 3 bachelor condos, but they're all side by. It was one huge unit, and the previous owner had severed it into 3 bachelors.
And those are vacation rentals?
Yes. So this one, we have an active partner, and he's a Canadian, and he moved there, and he's the one managing the day-to-day Airbnb operations. So we're passive on this one, but it's been such a great learning opportunity just to have like boots on the ground, going through the whole financing process. And yeah, so now I'm always promoting Turks and Caicos. I think it's such a great place to invest, and it's not far. It's like a 3-hour flight from Toronto. Super easy.
That's it?
Yes, you should come. Okay.
It's only like half an hour more than my Florida.
That's right. It's super convenient. Like for me, I have to fly to Toronto, so it adds a couple hours, but it's super convenient, and it's beautiful. It's no taxes. It's a British dependent territory. It's backed by the US dollar. So many advantages. And that's kind of why we chose Turks and Caicos.
No hurricanes? Hurricane free?
There was a hurricane that went by, but
just one ever? I know. Sorry, I've know nothing about Turks and Caicos.
No, they do have hurricane season, but you just have to prepare it like everywhere else. And where we are situated, it's in a, I want to say like a safer zone. It's not right by, let's say, the ocean. It's, a bit of a, I mean, maybe 5-minute drive. So it's kind of like sheltered in a little, I want to say alcove almost, but the one that just went by, our properties were fine. We went to check them out, so it was okay.
Wait, you went to check them out already?
Well, we went when it was we went for the closing in May, because I just wanted to. I thought it was really exciting if all the investors, because the other investor was from Toronto as well. And we all went there for the closing, and it was amazing just we got to stay at the condos, right? Because we took over the keys. We're like, well, might as well stay, enjoy the property, and then we can work out the kinks. So whatever needed to be fixed before we listed on Airbnb, we did that week. So it was really good. We were like sort of the guinea pigs for the condos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you able to share some of the high level numbers? What got you in?
Yes, I know you like numbers, so I
Doesn't
actually
everybody?
wrote down. I wrote down a bunch of the numbers for you. So this one was about, well, what do you want to know? Like the price? It was about,
sure.
Yeah, about 500 USD.
For all three?
That was for all three. Yeah, it's good, eh? And it was an off-market deal, and that's the beauty. So our partner, Mark, because he lives there, he has a lot of local connections. So he's able to get off-market deals from like realtors, real estate lawyers, friends. So it's been awesome. And so this one was 500,000 for all three. And we had to put, because the financing is a bit different, we had to put 50% down, and then we mortgaged the rest. Interest rate was about 6%, which is yes. So not too bad. And the fact that there's no taxes is amazing as well, but you do have to pay a one-time tax. It's called a stamp duty. So it's just a one time. And then after that, there's no like annual property taxes. There's no capital gains if you sell as well. So lots of benefits there. And the projections for this one, at 70% occupancy, the total ROI is about 29.4%.
Sorry, did you say 70% occupancy?
This is 70% projection.
Got it. How's it been going so far?
Really good. We were at, I think, like 90% for the summer. So it's so
really?
Yeah, it was
Summer's
crazy.
a busy time?
It's not supposed to be, but it was.
Okay.
I know. But now it started to decline a bit for September, October, which is normal. And then high season will start.
Right.
But we had a really great summer.
Right. Okay, but just for listeners' benefit, it does feel like a bit of a revenge travel time, so it may not last forever.
Yes.
In terms of vacation property demand, especially Canadians, we've been locked up for so long. So just like they have all this saved up money to go travel.
Exactly.
So I don't think it lasts forever.
And that's okay, because that was just, we realized it could just be a fluke, right? But our projections are still at the 70% occupancy. And the fact that it was like over 90, we'll take it as a bonus.
Yeah, take it as a bonus.
Exactly.
Maybe squirrel it away.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. Can you share how much it is to rent a night?
So it depends. The average is it could be around 200 to 250.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. This is in USD.
Yeah, it's still not bad.
Yeah.
Like, isn't a hotel around the same thing?
Yeah. So there's a shortage of supply, just like almost like everywhere else. So a lot of times people will go there, and either the hotels are not available or it's too expensive, so they'll do Airbnb. And there's also actually a shortage for long-term rentals, because all these hotels are being built, and then the employees don't really have anywhere to live. So that's something that my partner Mark and I have also talked about, maybe switching to finding or building long-term rentals for hotel employees.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. because you're investing in so many things, and you think we need to move on.
Okay.
You do apartment buildings too?
Yes, I do. So that's kind of where I shifted from single family homes to multifamily, and then the vacation rentals were sort of a bonus. But yes, apartment buildings, it's more stable. It's not super dependent on like comparables. It's more so on the building itself. So that's why we really like it as an asset class. And so we did close on quite a few this year. It's been crazy. So we closed on a 15 unit, I think back in April, with another active partner. And then the most recent one is the 50 unit, but that one is actually it's being led by our business partner Adriana Ostapenko, and she's the lead on it. And she's asked us to come and support in terms of like the capital raising. And because it's such a huge project, you have 50 units, we're turning them over. So we'll be supporting her and her business partner, Ben, on any of the extra activities. But the returns, that one's a full burr. So 2 years renovating all units. And then the plan is to refinance with a CMHC mortgage.
2 years, that's it for 50
That's the
units?
plan. 50, we've already started working on it. So it's like ready to go, rocking and
Okay.
roll.
It takes me months to get a door done.
Oh, but are you doing it yourself?
No, it's because it needs permits, so it takes forever.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So where are these properties?
This one is in St. John. So most of the units have been in New Brunswick. We do have one triplex in Nova Scotia. So it's been on the East Coast. Just because the prices made more sense than, I mean, we were looking at Ottawa for a long time, and then we just kind of shifted our strategy over to the East Coast because it didn't make any more sense to stay in Ottawa for us.
Got it. And how is the apartment building space in terms of prices? Is it still, because I keep hearing from people, for example, I had Dahlia on the show just recently, it does not seem like there's any motivated sellers out there.
No, everybody so far that I've spoken to in the apartment building space, they're hanging on, they're stabilizing their properties. I don't see any like panic selling. It's mostly, unfortunately, it's the 1 to 4 units. Those are the properties that are feeling the distress. Mostly single family homes, but even the 2 to 4, there's a bit of stability there as well. As long as you've bought and it's cash flowing, I don't see the need to sell right now unless, you know, your strategy was to flip it or something like that. But in the larger apartment building space, from what I've seen and the investors I've talked to, everyone is stabilizing and they're hanging on and continuing their plans for their burrs.
I keep all the apartment building friends I have across the country. They're all like, even if the seller is motivated, there's several offers.
Yes, yeah, exactly. It's not quite the same space. I feel like it's a separate world compared to all that.
That's a good way to put it. I think I totally agree with that.
Yeah,
this is nothing like a single family home detached.
Exactly, exactly. Like both of these apartment buildings, the appraisal was higher than our purchase price. So we have a huge buffer already. So we're not too worried about it. And we have great rates. The 15 unit, we had got a mortgage for, it was 2.5% for 2 years. So we're going to push through that. But yeah, I feel like it's not the same world. I'm in a different bubble almost, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Well, why do you choose passive?
Oh,
so I think it's a great question for our 17 listeners. Why choose?
Let's make it 18 after today.
Maybe we'll double with your popularity.
Yay.
Why? Because I'm sure many people ask the same question. Because you've done active with your own basement conversion properties, and generally those have done really well. So why the decision to go passive? And also, Did you exit any of your existing properties in order to move it into more passive investments?
No, so I am still active and I am going into passive as well, but that's
I
because
love it.
yeah, no,
The
I have to do both.
diversification,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
I love both. Like I love being an active partner because I still have that fire in me, right? To like find a deal and raise capital and stabilize the property. So to me, I enjoy that. So I still for me need to be active. And then the passive component for me is just essentially maximizing my time and leveraging other people's time and
Hmm.
experience and their deals as well. Like the Turks and Caicos deal for me, I'm a passive investor in that because I don't live in Turks and Caicos. I don't have the
You could.
local expertise, so that's why I leverage Mark's experience and his time. So that's why I go passive. But it's also if I'm like, I refinanced everything in 2021, like at the beginning, because all of my single family properties have gone up significantly. So I refinanced. And at that time, I didn't have my own active deals to invest, so I took that money and partnered up with other people who were active so that I could leverage their deal and their time. So that's how my portfolio grew, because I had this capital. I didn't have deals for myself, but all the people came to me and had great deals, and I said, why not? If you're going to own 25% or 50% of a great deal and not have to do the work, I feel like I've already done the work. That's how I got the capital to begin with, right? So I feel like
Hmm.
this is sort of like part two,
Hmm.
where I'm leveraging the money that I created with my single family
Hmm.
properties and now leveraging them into passive deals. The only one that I sold one townhouse in Ottawa, and I ended up using the capital for that one to invest with my sister on a pre-construction in it's near Edmonton,
Hmm.
and that's going really well. We just actually had it appraised, and it's 300,000 more than when we put it under contract for. Isn't that crazy?
What is it you bought in Edmonton?
It's three townhomes, but they all have legal.
Wait. You sold one townhome to get three?
It's six.
Sorry,
Yeah.
wait, hang
So
on. You sold one to get three? Six?
yes, that's right.
But you own a half.
Yeah,
So it's kind of like you own three, sort
three.
of.
Yes,
Okay.
so three. So
Okay.
which is still amazing.
Yeah.
We so we sold it, and then these three townhomes, we bought the block. So it's three of them with three ground floor units, which will make six total. And you're not going to believe this, Erwin, but we just got approved for a CMHC, the new product that they have, 5% down, 50-year amortization, because they're brand new. So we're keeping two of the smaller one-bedroom units for affordable rent. And so that, with the fact that it's going to be like high efficiency units, because they're brand new, we met all the requirements to put 5% down and have a 50-year amortization. Isn't that crazy?
Can we get this in Ontario?
I don't know. Maybe. As I think you could, if you have the right property.
Do
And
you know the name of the program?
yes, I had it here. I think MLI. See, if you go to the CMHC website, it has really great. Oh yeah, it's called MLI Select.
Hmm.
And they do a really great job of explaining all the different points, the breakdown, how much you need, everything. It's super easy to read. You can even
Amazing.
download the PDF fact sheet. So I actually recommend anybody that has multifamily that's either a pre-construction or they're about to do like a full burr, kind of what
Hmm.
we're doing with the 50 unit, to look into this program, because you'll maximize your leverage, right? Get as much money out,
Hmm.
have the longest amortization in the world. And, this is a game changer for apartment building owners and investors.
For the listeners' benefit, I just Googled CMHC MLI and it finished it for me. Select. And yeah, so you can
Exactly.
the download sheet's right there to
It's
download.
super easy to read and understand. And it's all based on point systems. And I believe the categories of affordable rents, accessibility, and efficiency,
Cool.
like energy efficiency. Exactly. It is super cool. So when we close in December, we're actually going to get money back because we had put 10% down when we put it under contract. Isn't that crazy?
So sorry, are you leveraging all the way to 5% down? You're gonna be
Yeah.
95% on the mortgage?
Yes. And it's still going to cash flow. So we're good.
This is wild. Okay,
It is wild.
so tell me about the Edmonton townhomes. Oh, sorry, you said, so is it 6 townhouses and they each have a suite?
It's 3 townhomes,
3 towns?
and then they each have one ground unit. So it's 6 total, 6 dwellings total. And they also come with detached garages. So in the back, it's really nice. I'll post some more pictures on my Instagram page for the listeners if they want to check it out. It's beautiful.
What's your Instagram, so in case anyone's looking?
It's super easy to remember. It's Danielle.Unsworth, UNSWORTH.
Oh, it's funny. You
Did
show
it
up pretty
pop up?
quickly. You show up pretty quickly when I search.
Yay! That's good. I'm actually hosting a workshop next week to help active real estate investors learn to use social media to grow their portfolio, which is essentially what happened to me. And I'm just going to be sharing all the tips and tricks that I learned in the last year and a half to make their journey easier, because I had to do a lot of like trial and error. I've had to ask like my niece for tips because she knows what to do. You know, they're 15, they're much more they're much better with the iPhones and all the TikTok and Instagram features. So I'll be doing that as well. And I feel like I don't really see anybody else doing that. So I've thought, it'd be really nice if I could put that together for all of our active investors in the community.
Okay, I don't know what to ask next. Let's finish off this townhome example, and then we'll come back to social media. Can you share how much the townhouses cost?
Well, for this one, we because we bought all 3, the total was about 1.25 million for all 3. And it was just appraised at just over 1.5.
And so you bought new construction. What was the down payment structure on the new construction?
It was 10%.
All right away on signing?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I think it was like within 60 days it had to be transferred.
Right. Did you fly out? You went to Edmonton to site inspect?
No, we're going to December 8th is the first inspection. We've been getting like videos and pictures and things and just updates from our agent, but we haven't physically gone there. But we will be going in December because I want to check it out and meet some other investors that are there as well.
Fabulous.
Yeah. It's amazing because it goes back to social media. We were able to connect with, local investors there. And we actually ended up meeting another investor that bought the lot across from us. So when she went to visit her property, she took pictures of ours and sent it to us. Super nice. Yeah.
Community is so important. I think it gets lost.
I know.
Because we're like the whole we're in this together. I'm not gonna say it. We're not in this together.
It's okay.
Whatever. Like we need to support one another because the tenants aren't going to support us.
I know.
The tenant groups aren't going to support us.
That's right.
We landlords, we investors need to support one another.
That's right.
Because when the pitchforks and the torches come out, who are they coming for? So
that's right.
I'm over exaggerating, obviously, but we need to, look out for one another as investors, right? Because really, there's no competition amongst one another.
No, I feel like everybody, has their own strategies, their own markets, their own niche. So it's really, there's so much. I live in the abundance world now. Like when we started this podcast, I was telling you how I was in scarcity mode a couple of years ago. And so now I've shifted to the abundance mindset. So I just feel like there's so much for everybody all the time. there's no need to compete with anybody, because even with clients or deals, a deal will resonate more with you, or a client will resonate with you more than the other person, and that's how people find each other, right? So there's no competition. People will come to you because they can relate to you. Same thing with deals. That deal is better suited for this investor versus another investor. So it's there's no need to compete.
Right. I will just add though, like you made the comment about how you reached out to people. Like for anyone listening, you're gonna reach out to people. Be nice.
Yes.
Don't expect anything from anyone. Offer value.
Yes, I've had people offer their time, like they wanted to learn from me. And I remember one of my Instagram followers and friends now, she was on mat leave, and she's like, I just want to help you. I can do it 1 hour a week, 1 hour a day, like whatever you need, I'm happy to help. And when people do things like that, you take notice, right? And so if an opportunity comes, you're going to reach out to them first, because they made an impression. They went above and beyond someone that's just going to DM me with a question and nothing else, versus someone who is offering their time because they want to learn and they're willing to do it. So just so that they can learn. And if they eventually come to me and say, I'm looking for this property, I'm going to put them on the top of my, my mental list when a deal like that comes up, right? So I just feel like if you offer value, whether it's your time or your knowledge or anything, people will take notice. And you might not know it, but it's getting it, like it's being placed somewhere in their minds, and they'll come back to you. Whether it's in an opportunity, a deal, or a partnership, you just never know.
Right. At a minimum, like, share, and comment on Danielle's stuff on her Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'd appreciate that.
Yes, and I love sharing other people's posts. Like if I see something that has really great value that I think other people will benefit, I share it. Whether it's like a course or an event, like a conference, anything I feel like, oh my gosh, this would really help somebody, I share it. Because why not? It doesn't take away from us, right? It just adds to the community. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know where to go next. Because you mentioned a couple things.
Yeah. There's so much to talk about.
It happens. Okay, you speak about community. I noticed you're part of several. Can you name which ones you're part of?
Yes, I would love to talk about WINC, which is the Women Investors Network Canada. This is a community that myself and two other investors here in Ottawa, we co-founded. So it's Esther and Aki. So we felt like there was a need for women to come together, support each other, be inspired to take action, to invest in real estate or other investments. So we actually grew. Let me think. So we co-founded this community last December. So it hasn't even been 1 year yet. And we have grown to like so many chapters across Canada. So we have one in Vancouver, Halifax, one in the GTA. We have a chapter in Kitchener, Guelph, Waterloo, Ottawa here, and then Calgary. And we're working on another one in another major city. And so all these women are now coming together and talking about real estate, life, motherhood, like everything. And I feel really grateful that we were able to do that, because there was such a need for, like, our first event, we had 50 women show up in December, and they were all just like so happy to be there, because we all feel like we're the only ones in our circle, and we feel like, we're crazy to talk about real estate and investing all the time when our friends and family sometimes are not interested, right, in listening to us talk about that all the time. But when you find your circle, then you don't feel so crazy. Exactly. Yeah. And we were able to do that. And so WINC has really grown, across Canada. We have from Vancouver all the way to the East Coast in Halifax. It's been amazing.
Are all your WINC friends coming for November 12th?
Well, I'm promoting.
Do you need your own WINC discount code? Because then that way we can at least sit you all together, for example.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would be great. We could definitely talk about that, because I if it's something that we can promote, because there's women across Canada who would, love the opportunity for sure.
Where are you sitting? Then because people want to use probably want to sit with you.
Oh,
I don't know if
I
we should
don't
talk about this
know.
publicly.
Okay, we'll discuss after.
But yeah, the point is like we can give you a discount code again, and then we can reserve seats for your tribe, and then at
Okay.
least you'll all be seated together,
Okay, amazing.
right? Well, because
Um,
you're going to be in Toronto, you're not always in Toronto, right?
that's right. Yes.
Right.
I want to come more often for sure, because last time I went was for a mastermind and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have enough time to meet with other investors to network. And
Invite Corey too.
yes, yes. Yeah, that was the reason I went. It was for his mastermind. I think it was 2 weekends ago. Yeah.
Is it on? Yeah, two
Was
weekends
it
ago. Yeah.
yeah, it was 2 weekends ago. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
It was so
Fabulous.
awesome. So many new faces too at the event. So I feel like the real estate community is growing all the time, which I love.
Yeah. It's growing and shrinking because a lot of people got hurt in this
Mm.
environment. I think you and I probably both know people, or there's
Mhm.
organizations that were really aggressive in the strategies they
Yes,
taught, or
yes,
just people naturally are aggressive and just over leveraged. I was literally
yes.
talking to Dahlia. She was telling me how people are coming asking asking her for help uh, deal with their investment situations. Uh,
Really.
like folks who are 100% leveraged, paying like over
Yeah,
10%, and then they also borrowed the money for the renovations, and they're paying like 15% or more
yeah,
for that
yeah.
renovation money. And
Yes,
now they're caught in this downturn.
Mhm. Yes, especially flippers, right? Like,
Or even just even Burr investors who didn't have the capital, who didn't have enough cash, right?
hmm.
Who are debt heavy, over
Yeah,
leveraged, expensive debt. Like anyone could get caught in that
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
environment.
It is scary when you think about it. Just, but I mean, this is like could be a whole other topic, but it's also about planning, right? And preparing and having that huge buffer. Like we run our numbers super conservatively.
Hmm.
Um, and so I know like not it wasn't something that people could have predicted, because if you were in that growth phase and a lot of the money was leveraged, it's hard to know,
Hmm.
like, okay, like when do we slow down,
Hmm.
or like the supply chain, that was a huge problem for people who were doing renovations too.
Hmm.
So it's hard
But it
to
wasn't an
know unless
excuse
you
though. It wasn't an excuse
no
because
ex-
we've been living through supply chain issues for the last over 2 years. So like you
yes,
should be able
this is
to
true.
know that we have these supply chain issues, budget based on these supply chain issues, budget double the
Exactly.
time.
Exactly. So I think it's about preparation as well, and
Hmm.
then having that huge buffer.
Hmm.
Um, but yes, you're right. I do know a few organizations and individuals who got really hurt
Hmm.
during this, and hopefully, like I'm sending them recovery vibes, because it's really hard to shift after something like
Hmm.
that, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you can hang on. Right. Oh,
yeah, yeah.
and Dahlia mentioned that this one person with all this money borrowed had three of these.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So not only
See,
being overleveraged on one property, they have three properties in the
yeah,
situation.
yes,
That's
yes.
that's
That's a
that,
lot.
that's a lot.
Yeah, yes,
One is a lot. I can't believe three.
yes,
Yeah, totally wild. Yeah, so
yeah.
Wink, where can folks find more information on Wink?
Yes. So we are on Instagram at Wink, so WINC.investors. And people can find us there. We also have a Facebook page, and it's the same name, Women Investors Network Canada. And that's where we post our monthly events. So we have online events and in-person events, and then all of the other chapters, they will be posting their own events as well, but it always will show up on the Wink main page, which is
Hmm.
on the Instagram page.
Hmm.
Yeah, so
Fabulous.
there's going to be events every month across Canada for
Hmm.
our Wink investors, which
Including
is
November
super
12th.
cool.
And then, sorry, we touched on Corey's group. You're part of Corey's. Is there a name for it? There is a name for it. Infinity
Yes.
something.
Infinite Real Estate Results program. Yes. So I joined Corey's program last year, and it's been amazing because I've been in real estate for a long time, but I've kind of been on my own, just winging it, learning from my own mistakes because I didn't have that education or that community when I started like 14, 15 years ago. So by joining Corey's program, I was able to have that community, and he's just so knowledgeable and so experienced that he's able to help me set up like behind the scenes and set up systems for my business. Because before I didn't think of myself as an investor. I just thought of myself as a landlord. I was a landlord and I had a couple of properties. But when I shifted my mindset to I'm a real estate investor, this is a business, I need systems so that I'm prepared, and I can scale. And without those systems, it's very difficult to scale when you're doing everything yourself. Like I was the bookkeeper, the property manager, the marketing agent, the tenant screening department. So I was everything.
You did it all.
I did it all.
Right.
I did it all. But now I have, teams in place. It's great. All my paperwork's up to date. I just love it. Like mortgage brokers love me because whenever they ask for paperwork, I send it to them within 30 seconds. I know exactly where it is because my books are super organized. It's amazing.
Mortgage brokers hate me. Well, actually, no, they don't mind me because I refer them to Cherry. She gets them answers.
No, Cherry's been amazing too. Like she was actually one of our speakers for Wink, and the women love just listening to her presentation and just answering all the tax questions because some of us are beginners, so we're not sure how to set it up properly, and she was able to give a lot of great guidance. So thank you for that too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So you invite her as a speaker. Hopefully you can invite me to the golf outing.
Yeah, we want to definitely do more golf events. So next in the summer, maybe we'll have a couple more because it was a huge hit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'd actually like to come to Ottawa in the winter as well. It's on Cherry and I's both of our bucket list to escape the Rideau with the
You've
kids.
never been? Oh, you have to come.
We're not from Ottawa, right?
That's true. No, you have to come.
Right?
It's amazing. And
how many Canadians haven't skated it? I would say a lot.
A lot. Yeah, no. You have to come and you have to make sure you get a beaver tail and hot chocolate with the marshmallows because that's like the whole experience.
Amazing. No, I can't wait for that.
Yay.
Yeah, we're not sure. It's just partly weather dependent, but the 17 listeners want to hear about that.
18 after 18. Today.
What can you tell us about Ottawa investing? What's going on in Ottawa?
Ottawa. So Ottawa, I think it's being affected just like everywhere else because and I'm talking in terms of like the single family homes because there's a house down my street and I think it would have sold for over $1 million back in January, February, and now it's asking for about 850,000. And this week I saw a price reduction sign, and now they're having an open house this weekend. So I definitely see a shift here in Ottawa, but because I'm not in the singles and the 2 to 4 unit, my focus is on the larger multifamily or vacation rentals. It hasn't really impacted me per se, but I do see a shift just even like around me talking to home buyers. But I feel like it's a different world. It's like the end user world, right? People who are buying to live versus the investor world. From the investor side, I do know of some flippers who are having a hard time selling at their projections. So they will be getting, they'll be taking a loss on some of those flips, which is unfortunate. Right. Yeah.
I know some flippers too, but again, not again. I know some flippers, but they had planned for plan B, which would be to rent it out the property.
Yes. Yes. So that's kind of the only issue with that is if you didn't plan well for plan B, let's say your finishes were, higher end, you know what I mean?
And that kind of flipper, got it. Okay.
Yeah. So it could be an issue if, you're choosing really high end finishes because your plan was not really to keep it and rent it out. So now you have this beautiful home that was not really meant to be a rental, but you're going to be renting it and you won't be able to ask for like that high of a rent to offset the mortgage, right? So
hopefully they budgeted for that.
I hope so.
Multiple exits.
Yes, exactly.
Every property needs multiple exits.
Yes. But that's what comes with experience and education, right? If you
Yeah.
have like a coach or you've been doing it for a long time, you would have had plan A, B, and C. Because when I look at a property, that's what I do. Like, can I, do short-term rentals with this? Can I do long-term rentals? What happens if I need to sell it? Or you know what I mean? Like you
Mhm.
have to be able to have different exit options.
Right. Yeah, when
Yeah.
we work with clients, like we know exactly, not exactly, but we have a pretty good idea of the tenant profile, what they're gonna pay you in rent, how
Hmm.
quickly you can fill it, because
Exactly.
our system is very boring and repeatable.
But those are the best kinds. Like boring is good.
Yeah.
You want to have boring strategy because then you know exactly what to do. Like, these are your tenants. These are going to be
Hmm.
their rents. This is how much they make. So this is how
Hmm.
much they're going to afford.
Hmm.
So for me, I usually buy in like A neighborhoods for the single family homes because most of us are government employees here.
Hmm.
And we all like government employees make on average 60 to 80,000, and that's, you know, not management level. So if you're a manager, you're talking 90 plus, right?
Hmm. I was
Yeah.
hoping to get one of those jobs as a side hustle and just like do it virtual and not show up.
No, you have to show up.
I want to see if I get. No, I'm totally joking. I'm just I'm so jaded on government workers.
I know that's another topic. We'll pause on that one.
It's all jealousy for any of our listeners who are government workers. I'm just jealous. I wish I had that kind of situation where I can just turn
Oh,
off my mind at 5 o'clock.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's the different, but that's that kind of like that different lifestyle and mindset, right? Because you do leave, your work at 5 versus being an investor. It's always
Always.
it's always on. Your mind is always on weekends and things like that. Which actually, I'm trying to take back some of that. Like,
Hmm.
I stopped going to walkthroughs on the weekends. Like I remember I used to drive to Cornwall on the weekends to look at properties. And after a while, when you get to the point where you're like, okay, like I have a great portfolio already. I'm not doing that anymore. Now I'm going to
Hmm.
be delegating that task. So I've been doing more virtual walkthroughs and things like that, which is super
Yeah, yeah,
awesome. It saves
yeah,
me
yeah.
so much time. And I just told myself like I'm not doing that anymore. It takes away
Right,
so much time with my kids on the weekends, right?
right, right. No, we do the same
Yeah.
with our clients, especially with people being more comfortable with virtual. We're doing
Mm-hmm.
more virtual, and also because of the way the market is, we can get conditions for inspection.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then our client can come then, or they can still stay at home and just wait to see the inspection report.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Because again, our
And
real estate's boring. It's so cookie cutter, and
yeah.
yeah,
And you know
boring
what
is
to
good.
look for already, right? In the inspection report. So
Yeah,
the red flags and
yeah.
yeah,
Because end of the day, it does not matter what my opinion is on if I like the kitchen or not. It's all about what my tenant wants and what they're willing to pay
exactly.
for rent in it.
Yes.
Right.
And I think that's the difference between like an experienced investor and someone starting new. They still are putting themselves,
Hmm.
in the apartment versus thinking like, no, you have to look at it through your tenant
Hmm.
perspective.
Hmm.
You might want this kind of kitchen, but does it really matter if will your tenant care? No. So you have to look at it like that, right?
Not in this market. Beggars can't be
Yeah.
choosers.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
nothing to rent. Is that the same in Ottawa? How's vacancy?
Yeah, vacancy is low. It's always been low here. I've never even had 1 month of vacant units in any of my
Oh,
properties.
sounds
It's
like you're in
crazy.
financial hardship, aren't
I
you? You know.
know I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed because we have never had an empty unit, not even for a month. Like when our
Mhm.
tenant gives us notice, we, market the property and it's filled right away, most of the time within weeks.
Mhm.
But because we have really great properties, they're all in really great neighborhoods.
Mhm.
And so because I know who I'm renting to, right? So I
Mhm.
know there's that demand. But for other investors, I feel like it's probably the same. Maybe 1 month of, but I feel like the vacancy rates here are low. It's definitely below 3%. So
I bet you it's even lower, like
Yeah, I
statistically.
bet you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it probably is. I haven't
Like
checked recently
like
because
like
I
we may
haven't
have
had
like a
any.
1 month vacancy because we need to like fix stuff up.
Hmm.
but yeah, rental supply is like non-existent.
And no, and the thing is, sometimes I'll even like sometimes I want that 1 month to, like you said, fix things up,
Yeah,
give it like,
paint.
just a fresh look, right? But the demand is so high, people will be like, no, like I'll take care of it. Like I've had tenants say, like, don't worry, like I'll paint. I just want to get in because I have to get out of my other unit. I have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So they'll ask me, can we go, like a couple days early? You don't even have to clean it. Like we'll
Hmm.
clean it. Like it's the demand is definitely there.
Hmm. Is the
Yeah.
same in New Brunswick?
New Brunswick, it's this. I feel like it's the same too. Like the vacancy.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's there. I mean, immigration. Like that's a whole other topic as well. But like immigration levels are high, and they're going to continue, right? So there's a demand for housing everywhere.
Hmm.
Yeah. So what
So
does
you're
that
not
say?
scared? Generally, speaking to our clients, they're not scared of this market. A lot of them are
No.
waiting. A lot of them are
Mhm.
waiting. A lot of them are actually getting in. Uh,
This is a great time to get in if you know what you're doing, right? Like if you can, if you've been putting your money aside for this opportunity, which I know a lot of people were in the last 6 months to 9 months,
mhm,
they were not buying anything because they
mhm,
were waiting for these opportunities. Those people, this is a great time to come in.
mhm,
To do, maybe you can buy something to house hack, right? This is a
mhm.
perfect opportunity to do that. Um, so yeah, I would only be scared if I was selling my home that I bought, in January and now I need to sell. That's
Mhm.
not a good situation. But if you were strategic, I think you
Yeah,
would be in a really good spot right now.
right. And you bought for
Yeah.
cash flow. You can rent it
Yes.
out and cover your
Yes.
costs.
Exactly.
You didn't quit your job.
No, yeah. Because I heard somewhere, I don't remember, but with real estate, if you have tenants paying down your mortgage, the principal pay down is really the guaranteed of return, right? Because the cash flow comes and goes depending on, what the expenses for
Maintenance.
that
Yeah.
month. Exactly. But your principal pay down is always there. You know for sure every year that X amount will be paid down. So to me,
Hmm.
that's a huge plus. So if you can get in now, do some house hacking, which is my biggest regret. I never got to house hack. I would love to house hack now, but it's like my house is a gong show, right? So I can't, it's not possible. I would be
Hmm.
so noisy. But if your 17, 18 listeners are, at the beginning of their journey, honestly, my biggest regret is not house hacking. So if you can do it now, go for it. It's going to be such a game changer and it's going to accelerate your real estate investing journey so much. Like you have no idea.
So by house hacking, you mean renting out parts of your home, or
Yeah, yeah. Or
okay?
buying a duplex and living in one, or buying,
Hmm.
I mean, if you could afford it and it makes sense, I would go all the way up to a fourplex, live
Hmm.
in one, rent the other three.
Hmm.
If for some reason that's not possible, then,
Right, right,
buy the single family home and then rent out rooms or the basement or
right, right.
something like that. Just
Hmm.
because if you're single, this is the best time to do it, right? You're a single individual, go for it. You're going to save so much money. You can start building wealth. It's like
Hmm.
the best option.
Yeah, the last three houses I've owned all had income property potential.
Yeah, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the way to go. I wish I had done that. And like
You just
I'm
have to be cheap
still
like me, then you'll find ways to save money. Yeah, I ain't that proud. I'll gladly live in my basement and rent out the main floor and collect more rent.
yeah, I would totally do it, but I don't
Yeah.
think my kids, and our pets and my husband will come with me. They're
Right,
gonna
right,
they're just gonna be like, you go.
right, right. I was actually reading, I think RBC came out with a report recently. I think something like 40, 50 years ago, the average household was like 4.2 people.
Okay.
And now we're like low two. We're low two now,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is part of the reason why we need so much housing because
Hmm.
so fewer people are in the one property, which is actually
Yeah.
funny because I thought households were getting bigger. But anyways, my point is that a lot of people's homes are very empty with
It's
very valuable
true.
space to rent out.
This is very true because people think they need more space than they actually do.
Hmm.
So that's something to think about too.
Hmm.
And people, I mean, I know people like the privacy in their own personal space, but I think sometimes you have to sacrifice a little bit at the beginning, right?
Hmm.
You got to rent out those rooms because if they're sitting empty, you're
Hmm.
not maximizing your home and you're not
Hmm.
leveraging what you
Hmm.
have. So yeah, I that's what I wish I could go back in time and do.
So
Biggest
you
regret.
so just to feed the FOMO, I actually have my client Katie's coming on soon. They rent out rooms to international students
Okay.
from China, and they pay a lot of money.
Yes. Okay. I
Uh,
actually looked into that
yeah, 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 yeah,
to be like a homestay, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But that didn't work out. But I really wanted to. I'm like, if I can't house hack, I want to be a homestay family.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was like a whole process, and then it didn't work out for us. But yeah,
Okay.
that's another option for sure.
Because as a side benefit for my family, we want our kids to learn Chinese, right? So that's
Yeah.
right. Because if anyone doesn't think China is going to be a world economic power more than they are already, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
it's again, diversification, just hedging my risks. I think
Yes.
learning Chinese is not a bad idea.
No, it's a great idea. They have Do they have Chinese Saturday school in Toronto? Because they have them here. It's free. It's
We do. I think
yeah.
it'd be better if we had students in our house. Our
Oh
kids would
yes,
love that
that's
actually.
even better. Yes, that's even better for sure.
I think they both appreciate it. Because then the Chinese students can learn some English and my kids can in a very get a lot of exposure to Chinese.
Yes. My husband's family did that. They were homestay families for Japanese students for
Mm,
like 20 years. And
mhm.
a lot of the students became like family friends over the years, right? And I think it's an amazing experience. So that's gonna be awesome.
I need a bigger house.
More space.
Danielle, we're running out of time. Do you have a couple moments to talk about social media?
Of course, I love social media now. I was honestly so afraid of social media. I didn't have
You?
any. Yes,
You've
I
put out
hadn't
so much.
because I forced myself to do it. I only had Facebook from like whenever Facebook came out, and then I kind of just stopped after I had my first son. So for 10 years, I was not on Facebook or Instagram or anything. It wasn't until like the pandemic hit, my friend, she kind of forced me to create an Instagram account, and she said, you have to be part of like the world again. Like you have to join the world. So I did. And at that time I was just posting, kids stuff. And I don't know what happened, but something like shifted in me. And January 2021, so last year, was when I decided I'm like, I'm gonna take social media seriously. I'm gonna share my journey. I felt like I had a lot to offer. And I was keeping it all to myself, which I felt like, okay, if one person can benefit from my real estate investing journey, that will be more than enough to make me happy and to push through that fear. So that's kind of how my journey started. I just forced myself to make posts, to go online and figure it out. But I
Mhm.
didn't know. I literally didn't know how to create a post on Instagram.
Right,
I had to ask my friend. Um, and we did it together. I
right,
remember
right.
at the restaurant. And I just kept doing it. And I felt like people resonated with my content, and I I started getting a really great following, and then I became more confident. Um, and I just kept sharing, and then my community started growing,
Mhm.
and that's how I ended up making so many incredible friendships. Like even like the Wink co-founders, I found like we met through social media, and now like I can't even imagine how I didn't know them before. It's crazy. And a lot of my investors and a lot of my partnerships were all through social media. We became friends because we resonated with each other's content, and just took off from there.
So
Yeah.
is the message just get started? Just post, just start posting?
Yes.
Because
So
because anyone who looks at your stuff might feel intimidated.
that's crazy to me because if you had followed me from the beginning,
Mhm.
you can see that I would stutter. I was nervous. My face would be
I
super
still stutter.
red. Me too, actually. But yeah, like I didn't know how to do any of that stuff. When I got frustrated, I decided to get help, which is when I started paying for someone to help me create content. And now I have a virtual assistant and she helps me. And it's been such a blessing because now I'm able to do even more content, create more content, because she's able to take it and, like, add the captions and put my logo and do my branding for me, which takes a lot of time. And so she's able to do that. And I'm just going to focus on creating the actual content.
Mhm. That's
Yeah. So
amazing.
yes, I think for my advice is, if you want to grow your real estate business, you have to be on social media and you have to share your journey. And you just have to push through that fear of being uncomfortable or being judged, or you think, your friends are gonna like think you're crazy or whatever. Just, who cares? Just be yourself, be authentic, and somebody is going to resonate to your
Mhm.
message. Because I
Mhm.
find a lot of people reach out to me and they say, like, you're so relatable. You're not using crazy fancy words. You're a mom, you go to the gym, you're like an everyday person. And if you can do it, it makes me feel like I can do it too. And my message is, yes, you can, because I'm not special. I literally, like, you heard my story. I got sick taking the bus to go see you, and then I didn't know how to create a post. And now I have an amazing community. So everything is like teachable. Just teach yourself these skills and push through that fear, and you will see the results.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, Danielle, I usually ask a lot of questions, so I hog a lot of the air, sort of, in a way. Any final thoughts? You're already over time. I appreciate
Oh,
you going
no,
over
that's
time.
okay. I honestly thank you so much, Erwin, for asking me to be a guest. I feel super honored. I remember, you're gonna laugh again, but I remember thinking, I was listening to your podcast. I was like, one day I'm gonna be a guest, because I'm gonna do like great big things. I'm gonna help people, and then I'll be able to share it. And here I am. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And my message to people is, if you're serious about changing your finances, and you're serious about helping your family create wealth and just be more comfortable, you don't have to be, super rich and own yachts and things like that, but just adding that extra comfort in your life, which is super important to me, because I have two kids and I know it's super expensive to have
Hmm.
all those extra activities.
Hmm.
So if you are ready to change your finances and create more income for yourself, and you want to invest in real estate, reach out to either, a coach, get into a program, just take action. And if people are not nice to you and don't want to help you, just go to the next person, because somebody will want to help you. And that's how you're going to grow. And you can reach out to me. I'm happy to help you as well, because I know, how scary it is. I was there too. And I always tell people the easiest way to reach out to somebody without being scared is if you give them like a keyword. So for people who are listening to this and they want to reach out to me, they
Hmm.
can just DM me on Instagram. Let's think of a cool word for them.
I thought wink, but I guess that's too generic.
Wink. You can just say,
Let's get on the bus.
yes, okay, let's do it. Bus. Just DM me the word bus ride, because I know you would have listened to this story and that it's from this podcast. So if someone wants to reach out to me and they want to DM me the word bus ride, I'm going to know that they listened to this podcast and they want me to reach out and just help them get started. And so I'm totally happy to do that.
Amazing. Danielle, something I've been working on, just, I don't know. My mind has always been weird. Uh, actually, Turks and Caicos is a good example.
Yes.
I think of Caribbean people in general. They work to live,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they live a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you live somewhere so beautiful, you're going to want to spend more time living than working. I don't believe that's a reality for most Canadians,
Mm-hmm.
unless you were born rich. Uh, and no one wants to live to work,
Mm-hmm.
because it's pretty much the opposite of, I think, what our purpose is.
Yeah.
So I'm leaning towards we work to invest, and we invest to live.
I love that. I think if people can understand what you just said, their lives will change. Like if you just think about working so you can have that capital to invest, and then that investment is going to be able to create the life that you want to live. If people understand that cycle, everything else will change. Because I was raised to save money, not to invest. So no matter how much money you save, you will never be able to create any kind of wealth or freedom, because it takes forever to save. And then the money that you're saving is actually losing value over time. So to me, I no longer save. So I will create money. So yes, either through equity or cash flow, I will create that income, and then I will invest that income. And that investment is what's going to change my life and make things just more enjoyable. Like I'm creating money to enjoy life, not the other way around, So I think if people can understand that concept, like don't save, like invest instead. If they can just understand that, I think everything else will fall into place.
Right.
Or the biggest thing I tried to like change people's mindset is the whole, like, I'm waiting to invest because I don't have any money. But you will never have money if you don't invest. It's like, it's a cycle, right? So even if you start off with something small, like $50, it's something, at least you'll get that habit. And once you get that habit, you understand how it works, then you're going to start to actually try to create more money so that you can invest. Like all these side hustles are available to people. You can create money from anything now. You can create a course, you can host webinars, you can sell. Like my son was selling e-comic books for $3 and he made $70. It's pretty good.
It's fantastic.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of our
So
clients
Sorry,
drives
go ahead.
DoorDash.
Okay,
he makes
yeah.
$500-800 a week.
That's amazing.
All right.
Yeah. So imagine he took that and invested. That's his side hustle, right? So like get a side hustle and take that side hustle and invest it. And that's how you're going to create and build momentum. Yeah.
Danielle, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you. No, thank you. Honestly, if there's anything else I can do to support you and Cherry, just let me know. I'm happy to do it.
And if you just stay on, I'm just going to stop the recording.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for watching. If you want to learn how to invest in real estate from scratch, my team teaches beginners how to use the #1 investment strategy that I personally use in a virtual free training class every month. Go to investortraining.ca/YouTube to register for our next class. That link is also in the description as well. I publish at least 2 to 3 videos a week here, so subscribe if you want to keep learning from seasoned investors like myself and my guests. And if you're just starting out, feel free to ask questions and comment below, and I do the best to answer each of those comments and questions myself. Again, if you're ready to learn the nitty-gritty about real estate investing from a professional investor, register for our next virtual class. That's at investortraining.ca/YouTube. Thanks again for watching. See you in the next video.